Hi everyone, I'm Achilles Hero and welcome to another video. In this video we'll feature my performance in the Victoria and Tasmania 2021 regionals. I know that's already been ignored, that was a few weeks ago. People already moved on to wildcards for a potential spot in Continentals. But I was asked by my local community to put this up, and so they could have a look back at my battles and see how I did in the tournament. So moving right into it, and our first round opponent is Jonah. Was not happy to see that I got matched up against him first up. Yes, he is a challenger. He was a challenger ranking because he hadn't done many tournaments this season. But last season, he finished as an elite trainer and made it to Continentals in Season 2. So he was one of the top 3 battlers in last year's regionals. So I was definitely nervous about this battle because I got matched with a higher skilled competitor first up. Definitely felt like regionals. Okay, and I decided to lead Altaria in our first battle. I thought it matched up pretty well, as long as it didn't see that Abomasnow, it was going to do alright, and hopefully that Mew didn't have Dragon Claw. So I was happy to stay in against Deoxys. As long as I shield one Rock Slide, I should be able to win this matchup. The counter damage isn't doing much at all to my Altaria, and the Dragon Breath damage is stacking up with Sky attacks. I take the Rock Slide and Dragon Breath that Deoxys down, keeping the energy for an expected Abomasnow to switch in, which happens, and I throw a Sky attack. Gonna get the shield, and then I decide to switch out. Questionable. I could have just let Altaria just go there. It done its job and not give away switch advantage, because now, as you can see, Mew comes out and I'm not in a great spot. I need to do as much damage as I can on this Mew, and then I've got to rely on Snowy Cast Form to do the work against that Abomasnow in the back. Good thing about Deoxys though is it's very tanky, so even though Mew's pretty much a hard counter to it, it can still survive long enough to throw charge moves. And I found out that Mew has Dragon Claw. I'm happy to bring in Altaria and get Mew to waste some of its energy, so I'm happy to have Mew use some of its energy, then I bring in Snowy Cast Form. And then Abomasnow comes out. Now I'm happy with this because he doesn't have any shields, and I expected a bait here. Now, he threw the energy ball. Now this made it pretty hard for me from this range. I built up to a blizzard, just got the blizzard, and then lost CMP. Abomasnow was able to get to it charge me first, which isn't great. Maybe shouldn't have shielded and let the Weather Ball ice through. I thought maybe he might have had an energy ball. I wasn't quite sure how much energy he had, so I decided to use that shield, but then I wasn't able to shield this wild charge. The two mistakes I made there: not shielding that energy ball, and then shielding the Weather Ball ice. So if I played that differently, I would have won that match. But credit to Jonah, did really well with no shields to be able to turn that match around. In this game, I decided to run with Ninetales as the lead, because that Mew does not, as you can see, does not have Silph. So I was happy to run with that Ninetales. It has overheat for neutral matchups. And I was happy to stay in. I don't really have that much of a counter to Deoxys, So I decided to stay in because my other two Pokemon are going to take super effective counter damage. So I really have to stay in, do as much damage as I can to Deoxys, and then they get the debuff. So at this point, I'm happy. Use a charge move, should take out that Deoxys. Now I don't have to worry about it. Now that big threat to the two Pokemon on my back is no longer there. So I bring in Lanoon to counter the Mew. They're probably expecting me to have Deoxys in the back. I don't shield the Wild Charge. I thought I could at least tank at one. Then I bring in Snowy Castle again. I want that Lanoon safe, ready for the Mew in the back. Now I know I can take at least one Energy Ball. It did cost me last time tanking an Energy Ball. This time felt like I had the right. I really needed to get rid of those shields from a Abomasnow, and I didn't really want to waste a shield on a Weather Ball Ice, so I was happy to at least take it. I knew their Powder Snows weren't going to do much damage at all. It was going to be their charge moves that were going to be the threat, and I did have a shield to deal with that. I'm trying to get the Abomasnow quite low that Shadow Claws from Lanoon were going to be at a close enough range to be able to take out that Abomasnow. Now I reckon they still have quite a bit of energy. Even throwing this Weather Ball Ice, they still have quite a bit of energy. As you can see, they went for the double Weather Ball Ice. And it got really close. I decided to use my charge move. And luckily enough, that Mew came in. And I'm able to use the charge move on Mew straight away, and then Shadow Claw the Abomasnow down. Now what I was trying to do was get rid of that Abomasnow, and then try to Shadow Claw down the Mew. It was going to be hard either way, but I managed to get a tie from that. So now we go into our third battle, but technically our second Silph battle, because we weren't able to get a result in that battle. So this time, decide to go Deoxys lead, and we get the Deoxys Mirror. At this range, not a good idea to go for Psycho Boost. You want to just go for Rock Slides, because you do not want to debuff yourself and give your opponent the chance to easily take switch advantage. But now that we're both low, I go for Psycho Boost. He's either going to shield or let that Deoxys go. And he lets the Deoxys go, so I win switch advantage. That Rainy Cast Form comes out, nearly said Snowy. That Rainy Cast Form comes out. Probably expected Ninetales to be in the back. So they're trying to counter what strat I had last game, and I'm happy to see this. I had the Pokemon in the right positions, so that Lanoon countered the Cast Form, and this Ninetales is going to hard counter the Abomasnow switch. Now, shielding from here would be blowing away or throwing away the match. So I do not want to shield and give that Rainy Cast Form a big advantage by being able to farm down my Ninetales and have two shields for that Lanoon. That is not what I want. So I decide to not shield, farm it down, go for an Overheat. They shield, and now I come out and bring in Lanoon. Going to be able to get a Grass Knot. They're going to have to shield again to have any chance. And I've got a shield, so even if they throw a Weather Ball Water, I'm going to be able to shield it, and this Grass Knot goes through, and I take out game 3, but a technical 1-1 result. So going into our fourth battle, which is definitely a regional feel, having to go to a 4th battle to even determine a winner. And we see the new lead. Not what I wanted. Thought it'd be a safe enough lead to be going with Deoxys, but we get the Mew lead. Now I decided to switch into Ninetales again and take the wild charge. I decided to throw an overheat because if this Deoxys doesn't shield, it's going to do a lot of damage to the point where I could at least pretty much take out the Deoxys, or Ninetales still did some work in this battle. No point shielding from here. I'm just going to let it go and bring in Lanoon. Bring in Lanoon, Shadow Claw the Deoxys, and it's a Bomber Snow. Now if they had Rainy Castle on the back, that would have suited better. But then, now that I've seen the Bomber Snow, I should have gone with the Deoxys. But that's, you don't know what's in the back, so you just have to run with what you feel like they have. But because I've ran with that, I have to switch in the Deoxys, and he's going to switch in the Mew. Not a great position. But because he didn't shield that Rock Slide, I have some play. I felt like I had some play here. I can try to double shield the Deoxys and get it to a point where I can either keep shielding, keep staying alive to the point where I can switch out into Lanoon and try to keep that Deoxys for a Bomber Snow, or they let the Mew go and I still have some play against that a Bomber Snow. So they do decide to let the Mew go, but they have a Bomber Snow there, and because I didn't have any shields, if they even got a Weather Ball off, I was gone from that range. So I needed to switch out, let them use an Energy Ball on Lanoon, and come back in now that I'm not debuffed. But from here, because they've got a shield and they only need to get to a Weather Ball to win, I need to debuff myself and hopefully get to a Psycho Boost to win. But I'm not able to do so, and it's GG's. So I do lose the first round. Okay, technically our chances from here of winning regionals are pretty slim. I would have had to win all 4 rounds and bank on somebody, or bank on a tied result at the end, and then made it to a sudden death playoff. Or I can go for that additional invite by trying to claim that second spot. So it was still, even though I've lost the first round, there is still a lot to play for. Okay, on to our second opponent. I get matched against another fellow Gloat Lobby from Arena Australis member in Mad Dog. Jonah wasn't really a regular this season, but he was still a Gloat member, so I've actually came up against 2 Gloat members in the first 2 rounds. So this has really felt like a Gloat tournament more than a regionals, even though against Jonah it really had that regionals vibe. Okay, moving into the first battle, I decide to lead Altaria. Now I thought Altaria matches up against their team pretty well, unless it gets matched up against the obvious counter in Dugong. And that Crustle, if it has Smackdown, it's going to do quite a bit of damage. But I felt like that Sky attack and the Dragon Breath damage adds up against their team. It does okay against Drifblim, but I need to shield those Icy Winds. So I double shield the Icy Winds. Now I go for Sky Attack and I'm trying to either get a shield from them or try to Dragon Breath them down from this range. And they just get a move off. Not great, but I've still got a lot of health. I'm gonna be able to at least survive this Icy Wind just and take switch advantage. They bring in Lanoon. I'm just unable to get to a Sky Attack. But aside from here, Lanoon does have a shield, so it might be tricky, but I decide to go in with Deoxys Defense for super effective counter damage. I get the Thunder through, decide not to debuff myself. I want to throw a charge move, get him to shield, and then still have that super effective counter damage without being debuffed. So Deoxys is going to go here, that Thunder's going to take it out, and I bring in Ninetales. Now against Dewgong, not a great spot. That Dewgong is a water Pokemon, but it's also an ice Pokemon, so fire does okay, it just sort of neutrals out, and I'm able to get that overheat off because they do not have any shields. This puts me into a winnable position. Water Pulse doesn't KO Ninetales, so I farm down this Dewgong, and I've got enough to get to an overheat, and from this range I'm able to take out that Lanoon. Now that overheat came in clutch. If I did not have overheat there and I had Psyshock, for example, I probably would have lost that because that overheat did enough damage for me to win from that range. So having 2 fire moves and able to win against a water Pokemon was pretty satisfying. So we get the good lead here in game 2 with Deoxys against that Dewgong. And I'm happy to stay in at this point against that Lanoon, because even though that Shadow Claw damage is super effective, they're also taking super effective counter damage. So I'm happy to stay in, use a shield, counter down the Lanoon, bank up a whole heap of energy. I know they got Dewgong in the back, and they bring in Crustle. So I go for the Rock Slide. Able to get that Rock Slide off. So feeling like I'm in a really good spot here. Able to throw another one, and now I throw out. Now I know they've got Smackdown, but I know they also have Dewgong in the back. So Alteria's not going to do much with Dewgong being in the back, but I'm going to be able to at least get Dragon Breath damage off. And now I've baited out that Dewgong. So now I bring back in the Deoxys, and I decide to shield. Now they have debuffed me, but I want to still get damage off against that Dewgong with counters and this Rock Slide, because it's still going to threaten that Dewgong. They're going to have to shield. I've got that Dewgong at a low enough health that Ninetales still has a chance here. Now that Crustle does have Smackdown in the back, so this is going to be cutting it pretty close now that I've been hit with this Water Pulse. There's no point going for overheat. Weather Ball is going to do the job. I'm going to be able to take out the Dewgong. Now I'm going to have to Fire Spin down the Crustle, and that was nearly a tie again. It was nearly for the second time in the second round. The second time in the second battle in the second round that it was a tie. But luckily enough, it didn't go that way, and I was able to win by 1 HP. Okay, going into the third battle, we're up against, we got the Rainy Castle, I'm up against the Drifblim. I'm happy here as long as I don't get hit with the Shadow Ball. They go straight for the Shadow Ball. So great shield on my behalf. Now I decide to switch into the Deoxys Defense to counter the Lanoon. happy to take a charge move and take super effective damage on this Lanoon. Throw a charge move, they're going to shield. I'm happy with that, got a shield out of them and doing super effective counter damage. I was going for the Psycho Boost there because I expected them to get to a charge move first. And I just let the Grass Knot through. I know that my Rainy Castform and Ninetales are going to do enough. And I expect maybe Dugong to be in the back, so that Rainy Castform is going to come in clutch. So I try to get rid of this counter to Rainy Castform. Let the Grass Knot through. Ninetales is going to be able to easily counter it. It's not really going to threaten Ninetales here, and they've got Crustle in the back. So I go for the Overheat. They shield. And now I bring in Rainy Castform. They switch out cleverly to be able to take this Weather Ball. But I decide to go straight for double Weather Balls. I've banked up quite a bit of energy. There's no point throwing the Thunder. I just go double Weather Ball, take out the Drift Limb, and then do super effective damage onto that Crustle. I've got a shield. I'm going to shield this and then get that Weather Ball off. And it's pretty much a winnable situation from here. Because that Weather Ball takes out the Crustle. And we win game 3. Okay, moving on to round 3. Be aware, this is the second battle of the third round. For some reason my phone didn't record the first battle, and when I checked at the end of that battle I realised it didn't record, so I made sure that these battles recorded. So I did win the first battle. I led Altaria, and as you can see my opponent decided to go with Shadow Abomasnow as a lead this time, so they're probably trying to counter the Altaria lead, and in this battle I decided to go with the Deoxys lead. And it's a very favourable matchup for me. I decided to shield, didn't want to get hit with an Energy Ball, but with a Shadow Abomasnow. But at this point I don't want to double shield, so I'm going to let the Energy Ball through. Go for the Psycho Boost. They're either going to double shield and keep the Abomasnow alive, or they're just going to let it go and I'm going to win the lead. And they do shield, so they opt to double shield. I just don't KO the Abomasnow, but I'm happy to come in with Snowy Castform, take the Weather Ball, and get one Powder Snow off, keeping that little bit of energy for the next Pokemon. Medicham comes out. Now I'm happy to switch into Altaria here, because what I worked out in the first battle is they do not have Ice Punch, so I was happy to go in with Altaria. And they switch into Swampert. Now I'm fine here. Dragon Breath damage is going to add up. I just go for Sky Attacks. I've got a shield, so I'm going to shield an expected Sludge Wave. They get the Sludge Wave off. Now I'm happy to Dragon Breath the Swampert down and then save a Sky Attack for the Medicham. So I build up, got that Sky Attack. Gonna land it on this Medicham. It's not gonna KO, but it's gonna do quite a bit of damage. As you said, as I said, they do not have Ice Punch, so even if this is a Psychic, it's not gonna KO, and I should be able to Dragon Breath the Medicham down. But I decide to just go for the guaranteed win, switch into Snowy Castform, and get a Weather Ball Ice Off to take out game 2 and take out the round. So I felt like with that Medicham not having Ice Punch, it really made the Altaria and Deoxys defense core really work against their team. And they decide to go with the Articuno counter. So they really want to counter that Altaria. But I went with the Deoxys defense lead again. I thought having Deoxys as a lead did better than what an Altaria would do, because I've just got a safer lead it can do a bit more in the lead than what Altaria could do against something that could hard counter. They decide to let the Articuno go. Feel like I'm in a good position here. They bring out Medicham. Decide to stay in. Decide not to shield. It's just going to be a power up punch, and I want to build up to 2 Psycho boosts and throw it, so I'm going to go for the double Psycho boost here. They're going to shield the first one, and I decide to switch out, saving the Psycho boost for later, because if I throw it, it's just going to be a debuffed Psycho boost anyway. I'm best to switch out and then keep that energy for later in the battle. And then Ninetales is going to do pretty well. I did shield the power up punch. Never feels good shielding a power up punch. And I decided to just double shield because I didn't want to get hit with a boosted psychic. I want to use this energy, throw the overheat, and they have a Shadow Abomasnow in the back. So I overfarmed a little bit there, didn't need to do that. All I needed to do was just throw this Weather Ball. Even though it is debuffed, it is a Shadow Abomasnow, so it is going to get taken out pretty easy. Okay, on to our 4th battle. We're up against Sarah. Now, she actually upset one of the favourites to take out regionals in Anisotropic in round 2. So a bit of an underdog to look out for here. I decided to go with the Snowy Cast form. It matched up really well against their team. I don't really have to worry too much about what I get matched up against with the Snowy Cast form. Happy to take the Surf. Snowy Cast form is pretty bulky. Bit of lag there. Not really much to affect the battle. The energy loaded up pretty quickly. Decide to shield that Surf, and then they bring in Swampert. Now I'm happy here to bring in Altaria. Anything that Swampert throws isn't going to be too much of a threat for Altaria. They decide to go the Hydro Cannon. Happy with that. Expect this to be another Hydro Cannon, so I don't shield. Keep Dragon Breathing the Swampert down, banking up a ton of energy here, and I decide to throw the Sky Attack. Could have just farmed it down, but it ended up being the right option because they did shield. At this point, I'm feeling like they're going to throw a Sludge Wave, and they do, but I survive. They survive, so that was very ballsy not to shield even when I expected the Sludge Wave. And then that Abomasnow comes out, but thankfully I can actually get this Sky Attack off. And it does enough damage on the Abomasnow. They're just going to Powder Snow the Altaria down. But really happy here. Going to bring in this Ninetales, and they bring in the Mew. Fire Spins is still going to do a great deal. I'm going to get this Weather Ball off. It's at low enough health. I don't need to go for an overheat at this range. I decide to switch back into Snowy Cast form and keeping that Ninetales for that Abomasnow in the back. So I'll shield this Surf, get this Weather Ball off on Mew. And take out this Abomasnow on the back. They're going to have to use a charge move to win this matchup, but with Ninetales in the back, it's pretty much GG's from here. So we take out the first battle. We're on a pretty good run so far. We haven't lost a battle since round 1, so we're doing pretty good. We're on a pretty good roll. We want to keep going here to guarantee another win. Okay. Same strat as I said before, just lead Snowy Cast form, matches up really well against their team, not too much of a threat. Now I switch, same as last time, they switch into Swampert, I switch into Altaria. They decide to go Sludge Wave straight away this time, but I'm happy to take it. Got heaps of health. Those mud shots are doing next to nothing, so they pretty much have to get the charge moves to take this Altaria out. Now I decide to shield this Sludge Wave, which is banking up a ton of energy. Even if a Bomber Snow comes out, I've got quite a bit of Sky Attack threats to them. So I go for the double Sky Attack. Decide to Dragon Breath it down and then bring in Snowy Cast Form. That's quite a bit of damage. I decide not to shield. They bring in the Wild Charge, so now they've debuffed it. Gonna bank up some energy for another charge move, and a Bomber Snow comes in. Now I decide just to go for the Roll Ice. I want to get as much damage as I can on that Bomber Snow, and I end up getting the shield out of it, so that's a very good situation for me. I'm not going to shield this, gonna let Snowy Cast Form go. I've got Ninetales in the back to deal with this Bomber Snow. And it's pretty much GG's for here. I've got a shield. Anything a Bomber Snow throws, it's not going to take out the Ninetales. So I'm happy just to tank it. And I pretty much could have just Fire Spin down from there, but I decided to throw the move and guarantee game 2 and round 4. Third game, it's going to be the same as the first 2 leads. Snowy Cast Form. Matched up against Mew again. Happy with this. The neutral ice damage is going to stack up on that Mew. Decide not to throw the Weather Ball straight away, banking up pretty much to 2 Weather Balls before throwing a move. And gonna get another one off. Put a bit of pressure on them now, they're making them decide if they're going to shield their Mew, and I'll get a shield out of them. I've still got 2 shields, so I'm going to shield this and try to take out this Mew. Gonna get to this Weather Ball, so they're either going to have to shield again or let that Mew go. And they decide to double shield the Mew. I'm happy. Snowy Cast Form's done its job. I'm not going to shield here. I'm just going to let it go. Keep the shield for Altaria. And they bring in Swampert. So I'm happy here. Gonna get to a Sky Attack. And the Dragon Breath damage is going to do a fair bit. I've got a shield. Swampert's not going to be too threatening for me. Sludge Wave is going to take me down to about half health. And they bring in Galvantula. Now I'm happy here. I've built up to a Moonblast. Don't really need it. I'm obviously going to shield this Discharge. Or actually it's a Lunge. Either way, I shield. And because I clicked on that Moonblast, it's going to throw the Moonblast before I actually switch into the Ninetales. And I decide, actually no, I'm not going to switch out, I'm just going to stay in because I can actually Dragon Breath the Swampert down from that range. So I did try to switch into Ninetales and then keep Altaria for that Swampert, but it worked out anyway. On to the 5th and final rounds of the tournament. Now at this point I've realised that I can no longer be regional champion. Those hopes have been crushed, being that 2 competitors are undefeated going into round 5. So one of them will be regional champion. However, there's still hope for me to claim a Continentals spot. That being because of the amount of competitors in this tournament, there is an additional spot up for grabs. So the regionals winner will get an invite, but also another person, the runner-up per se, gets an invite as well. So there's still a lot on the line in this round. If I can win this round, there is a chance that I actually make Continentals after losing round 1. And my opponent puts a lot of pressure on me. I've not done well this season against Epic Cactus. I've matched up with him quite a lot this season. He's a fellow Gloat member. And I've matched up with him in Arena Australis in Colossal as well. And I'd say probably about 60-40%, 60% of the way it's gone his win, 40% of the way it's gone my way. But majority of the time it's always a tough battle. And so this felt like the hardest. Round 1 was hard. This felt like the most pressure right here, right now, with a Continental spot up for grabs. So let's go into the battles. Looking at his team, I'm very scared of that Alolan Golem. Because that Alolan Golem with Wild Charge is very scary. And as you can see, they've got Volt Switch, and I'm expecting them to have Wild Charge as well. So I decided to switch into Cast Form. Yes, it's not really a great counter, but at least I take a Rock Blast, and that water damage at least does super effective damage on that Alolan Golem being a Rock type. I decide to shield the Shadow Ball. Definitely a good decision, because I would have lost that match if I did not shield that Shadow Ball. I decided to go straight for a Thunder, not going for any bait. He probably expected me to bait there. In the past, I have baited a lot against Epic Cactus. So, those are some things you can do when you've battled against somebody a lot. You can sort of switch up the way you play to throw them off guard. And all I can do here is throw that Weather Ball on Primeape. Primeape's squishy. So I'm going to at least take it down to half health before the Cast Form goes down. Now I'm happy to come in with Altaria. I've got a Sky Attack ready. That Primeape is going to have to shield. And I'm happy to just Dragon Breath it down. That Alolan Golem comes back out. Not great. I know it's got Rock Blast. So I shield because Rock Blast is still going to do a bit. But I'm still afraid that it has Wild Charge. Now I bring in Lanoon. Now, even if he throws a Wild Charge here, I know that Lanoon can usually tank it. So now, I don't really want to Shadow Claw it down, I just want to get rid of it. So I get Grass Knot, get rid of it, he doesn't shield, and he brings in Primeape to try to counter it down. The Primeape was still getting Shadow Clawed, so it was still Lanoon was still doing super effective damage. And I nearly lost that. I lost that by not by that Primeape getting an Ice Punch through. But luckily, I survive it, and he goes down with still having a shield. But that was scary. Seeing an Ice Punch Primeape there, that was very scary. So I let off by still having enough HP to survive against that Primeape. A pretty favourable matchup for me. I build up to a double Psycho Boost, but I let through a Leaf Storm. Pretty rough. He switches out, good decision, but now I've got two rock slides built up, so I'm going to build it up then switch out. I don't want Altaria to farm down, so I go into my own Altaria. I know he's got Roserade, so Roserade's not going to do too much, not going to be really threatening to Altaria, so I'm going to Dragon Breath his Altaria down, building up a lot of energy. And Charizard comes out, and interestingly, he went with a Dragon Breath Charizard, so he's going with a double Dragon Breath strat. Interesting. Decide to go for my Sky Attacks. Charizard is pretty squishy. It doesn't like taking too many hits. But he is going to win that match. But I feel like I'm in a couple position. I've got Rainy Cast Form, and he did not bring a Alolan Golem. This Roserade has to get to a Leaf Storm. And he gets a Weather Ball bait, so that good play on his path. Roserade's really squishy, so I decide even if I throw a Weather Ball, it's going to do quite a bit of damage, and he knows that, so he shields. I bring back in Deoxys with that Psycho boost that I saved, and I'm going to be able to take out that Roserade. And now against that Charizard, Rainy Cast Form's going to come in clutch. Even if they get a Blast Burn off here, Rainy Cast Form's going to be able to tank it, and I'm just going to Water Gun down the Charizard to take out Game 2. So we've actually won this round. So we're very happy with I'm very happy with the 4-1 result here. Exactly, I couldn't have dreamed any better, run any better after losing the first round. And third game, we decided to switch it up, run the Snowy Castle on, but we matched with a hard counter in Primeape. So I switch into Deoxys Defense. Don't really want to waste my shields against Primeape. I expected him to switch out after getting that Night Slash off, and then we get countered by Jealousy. So not looking good here. We're getting hard countered straight away. I decided not to go for a Psycho Boost. I probably could have, but I decided to go for another Rock Slide, but they get the Shadow Ball off, and that Deoxys is out of there. So I maybe should have gone to Psycho Boost just to debuff myself and die quicker. But either way, not in a very good position. Already Cast Form is up against this Jellicent, and I thought he'd go for a bait there, so I do let the Shadow Ball through. I decide not to go for a bait, just go straight for the Thunder. I need to try to surprisingly get rid of this Jellicent and have some play later in the battle. That Alolan Golem's going to take my Cast Form out. And all I have is Snowy Cast Form against a Primeape and a Alolan Golem. This is GG's. I shield to try to have some play to win somehow, but it's not looking good at all. He's just going to do double Rock Blast, and then switch out into Primeape to finish off the match. Absolutely nothing I can do. The only hope I've got is that he does not shield for some reason when he's got 2 shields, and just tries to full Ramberto it. But nothing I can do. I'm just spamming charge moves, but this game was pretty much over from the start with that massive lead with my team composition compared to his in this game 3. So he wins pretty hard, but I do win the round. So GG's, very good battles. I was very surprised that I was able to actually pull those high. I was very scared of that Alolan Golem, I could be honest with you. It matched up against my team very well. That was one of the surprising picks that I was very scared of. So not seeing it even in game 2, I was happy with that. I was very happy with that. And these are the final results. Inner Bloom 94 was the Victorian and Tasmanian Regional Champion for 2021. Jador battled him in the final. Unfortunately, he did not succeed and finished on 4 wins. He did have the highest Buckholz, but unfortunately, for Silph rules, to get the additional invite, the tiebreaker is actually determined on battle wins. So in that case, I actually claim that spot with 12 battle wins, having the most battle wins for the entire tournament. Now it's a bit of controversy, because you could argue that Buckholz should be, or battle win should be. Buckholz is more chance based, because you're relying on all your opponents you battled against in the tournament to perform well, to even get that invite. Whereas if you have it determined by battle wins, competitors have actually got control that if they perform really well and win every single battle they can, and they can still claim a spot. Whereas if you determine it by buckholes, you're really leaving it to chance. So I can see why Silph have done it this way, but it's definitely could argue either way which is more fair. But I feel bad for Jador actually making it all the way to the final, losing the final, and then not even getting a spot in Continentals. But that comes to an end of my video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.